Hello, and welcome back into another episode of Craven Some Raven. And in this episode, this is going to be my breakdown of the Green Bay Ravens preseason Week 2 game. I'm going to try to break down the whole team, so this might end up being a long one, or it might end up being short. It's hard to tell. I don't know how long it's going to be as of right now, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But the Ravens won 26-13. The offense, at least first offense, was able to move the ball very well. Defense, they allowed quite a bit of yards. I wasn't too happy to see that. They allowed 13 points, but we'll break that down. We'll kind of go player by player, and kind of what I saw on what I think of what I saw. So we'll go ahead and do that. But first and foremost, the big thing you want to get out of preseason is you want to come away healthy. You want to come out of it with no injuries. And after this game, Chris Board, he had a concussion. It was on that play. And the running back came around the outside, and Chris Board went for the tackle, but the running back was the aggressor and shot him in the helmet. Really just corked him right on the sweet spot, knocked his head back a little bit. It's like, oh, buddy, he just got knocked the fuck out. Not knocked out, but he got stung pretty good. You can see he looked a little dazed and confused as he was coming off the field. So hopefully he can come back, get healthy. With concussions, you don't really know how these things are going to work out. Could be less than a week, and it could last all year. Head injuries are a weird thing. Just ask the Raiders and Antonio Brown. With Antonio Brown's craziness, some people equate it to CTE, but I don't think it's CTE. I think it's just him getting hit. Because I say all of this crazy behavior really started after that perfect hit, and it's not, CTE doesn't act that quickly, but head trauma does. A lot of times someone gets hit hard and they're never the same again, and that's just the way it is. So hopefully Chris Board, it didn't look too bad. Hopefully he's up and running so he doesn't get his starting position taken from him. He's able to practice soon because he's in that position battle with Kenny Young. But after the game, I guess in practice, Tavon Young, he might be out for the year with a neck injury. Now he wasn't practicing, and it was kind of undisclosed, and Harbaugh talked about some guys got to go in for some tests and to see what's up, and I think Tavon Young was one of those guys, and he got a test, and apparently he's got a disc issue, and he might be out for the year, and it's, do you just let it heal on its own, or do you have the surgery and maybe come back? It really all depends, but he is probably going to be out for the year, and that's a huge blow, man, because he is our number one slot corner. We just signed him to a nice deal, and this is his second year that he might be out for the season. He had a great rookie year, and then next season he hurt his ACL or tore his ACL or something. I think that's what it was, and he was out for the season. Then he came back next year and he looked good, looked great. He ended up missing a few games as well, and now he's out for the season again. And I hope he isn't injury prone. Get that injury prone status plastered over your name. That's not what we need. We paid the guy, and he's excellent. And this does worry me, because who's gonna fill in? Who is gonna fill in for Tavon Young? Because last episode I had when we were talking about that Jadeveon Clowney trade and all that with Jimmy Smith, and I was talking about, once you trade him, then you get an injury. Now all of a sudden, cornerback isn't your strength, and we now have that injury, and our depth is on the outside. At inside, I don't know who's going to fill in. Cyrus Jones got the starting nod, and I don't think he played all that well. He just doesn't have the recovery speed after the wide receiver cuts, and his guys were open all night. Now, he's a good returner, but I don't know if he's a starting cornerback. He did have that interception in the first week preseason game, but he wasn't able to continue that into the next game. He didn't have nearly as much success. He just wasn't covering as well. And a lot of those big, long gains were against Cyrus Jones. And that's not something you want to see. So this is going to be huge because the slot wide receiver is one of the most productive receivers on the field, and that's why having Tavon Young and paying him was such a good idea. And now that we don't have him, who is going to cover that man? I think we might get beaten so much now. We're not going to be able to go one-on-one as much, thus not allowing us to blitz and getting to the quarterback. So our pass rush might suffer because of this. And that's no bueno. And the Ravens still have a great defense, but this is going to make it not as dominant as it was last year. It's just the way it is. I'll keep saying that. So it's super disheartening. I'm a huge Tavon Young fan. I love the way he plays, and it's very similar to Ladarius Webb. He kind of came in, undersized, plays bigger than he is, very feisty when tackling, a very willing tackler, just like Ladarius Webb. But just like Ladarius Webb, he seems to be bitten by that injury bug. Now, he's only been in football for 3-4 years, or not in football, but on the team for 3-4 years. So hopefully this is just like a freak stuff that's happened to him early in his career. But there is a pattern that is starting to emerge, and I don't like that pattern. It's ugly. It's gross. Injuries suck because you don't get to have all your best players. You don't really get to see the full potential of the team. We have in recent years been blessed by the injury gods, and I think that goes back to Steve Saunders and what he's doing, getting everybody's body right. But you just never know. It's a contact sport. It's violent. So people are going to get injured. And that is the biggest injury we have so far. I don't think anybody else is out for the season. So with that being said, I think I'll stick on the defensive side and start breaking down players and what I saw. So let's stick with the defensive backs. And someone who I was very impressed with was Marlon Humphrey, man. He allowed one long pass, but then after that, he was lights out. There was that one play when they were running it to the outside, and there was the right tackle, number 75 for Green Bay. He came out to block Marlon Humphrey, and first he was on the outside of the line, lined up on the wide receiver, and right as he saw it run, he shot up, got past the wide receiver, and then met the tackle head on. And you see a tackle running, usually that guy just demolishes whoever is in front of him, especially if it's a cornerback. But goddamn, Marlon Humphrey held him up, stymied him basically, and was able to get off him and make the tackle, stuck him, and got up the field. That is impressive. Now that is some real strength. I mean, you got a 300-pound guy running full speed, and you're able to stop that in its tracks and then shed the block and get after your man. That is huge. Marlon Humphrey, that is a number one wide receiver type play. That is not something wide receivers can do. I mean, he looks big. He's out there looking like a safety or a linebacker. He's looking huge, and you can see on that play that strength it's functional. And I'm super excited. Can't wait to see him play some more this season. Can't wait to see him go up against some ultra stiff competition and really put on a show for Baltimore. Like I kind of already mentioned, Cyrus Jones, he just did not have as good of a game as he did last week. His guys were just getting open all up and down the field, and subsequently the Packers were able to move the ball, and the secondary as a whole just wasn't playing as well because they were able to move the ball too much. They got huge passing chunk yards. Now, when they threw it short, or threw it behind the line of scrimmage, I love the way our defense as a whole rallied to the ball, and I thought they played that game very, very well. But we were beaten on deep shots. Cyrus Jones in particular, he was not in position. You could see his guy was, the guy he was guarding was 3 or 4 yards away from him, and that is wide open in the NFL. At least last week when you had Anthony Averett, he was right there, at least able to get in the way of the wide receiver, and subsequently you could see less balls completed because he's at least in the way. But if you have a ball going to a free and open receiver, that's no bueno. They were able to get open over the middle, and that it seems like a vulnerable spot for us now. Let's see, who else? Earl Thomas, he got his first start, and I loved what I saw from him. He was all over the field. I saw some great instincts. There just a couple plays where you see he's coming down into the box ready to hit somebody. I didn't really see much of him in coverage because, I was just watching the replays of the game, and you don't really get to see much of the back end. The camera's kind of zoomed in on the offensive and defensive line. Excuse me. So you don't really get to see much of what he's doing on the back end, but there's a few times where you could see he's got his eyes in the backfield while also guarding somebody. So he's got his eyes up and he's ready to make a play when the ball comes his way. So can't wait to see what he's going to do during the regular season. Also, Tony Jefferson, I thought he played pretty well. I thought he was getting after it. That one play that Marlon Humphrey had that stop, Tony Jefferson, he had the hit to really put the running back out of bounds and really put him to the ground. Hit him hard as hell too. And on that play, he started 13 yards back, and he was able to get all the way 5 yards behind the backfield to make that hit. So he's keying in and he's getting his guy. And another corner, Anthony Averett, he had that good game against Jacksonville. But this game, he allowed that touchdown, and after rewatching that play, you could see the wide receiver kind of slowed down on his route, thought the play was over, and so did Anthony Averett. But then the wide receiver kept it alive and then cut up to the right because the wide receiver, he was coming up on a post route, and then he kind of slowed down and stopped, and then he took off and kind of slanted up to the right, and that's when Anthony Averett, he just wasn't able to react quick enough, and that's how he got open. That's how he was so open. But, I maybe if Anthony Averett takes over for Tavon Young, because I'm a huge fan of Anthony Averett. I thought he could be good. I thought he could play some meaningful snaps this year. And with that injury, I'm thinking he will. And my prediction might come true that he might, when I talked about him being a sleeper, someone who ends up playing more and playing better than what we originally envisioned him doing this year. Because we still got Jimmy Smith. I don't think he played. And Brandon Carr, I don't know if he's quick enough to do that inside. I don't think he's quick enough. He's a little bit older. And I don't know if he can quite hang with the cuts that come with the inside. Yeah, I'm sure he's smart enough. He's a veteran. But I'm not too sure about that. So I saw Deshaun Elliott. He had that one play where the guy kind of caught it, and then he stripped the ball. I thought maybe they might call that a fumble or hopefully an interception, but the ball ended up on the turf, or I guess on the grass, before he could keep the ball, so couldn't be considered an interception. But I love seeing that. I love seeing, even if you make the catch, you might not necessarily come down with it because our DBs are getting after that ball, and I loved what I saw from Deshaun Elliott. Other than that, no other corners really stood out. I saw some balls being completed over Maurice Kennedy. I didn't see Eamon Marshall, so they might be getting ready to stash him. But with that Tavon Young injury, we might need the extra help. I don't know if he can play inside. He is a bigger guy. And I think at the inside, at the slot corner, you need someone who's a little bit smaller. Although a lot of offenses are playing bigger wide receivers in the slot, you still need someone who can cut and get around all that traffic that's on the inside. You need someone who can hold up against those smaller guys, those small, quick guys. That's what you got to worry about on the inside. So I guess we'll just move down and we'll move to the inside linebacker position. And I came away very, very impressed by Otaro Ibaka, number 50, the undrafted rookie free agent out of Texas A&M, I want to say. And I thought he looked good. He was excellent against the run game. I didn't really get to see much of him versus the pass. And his whole thing was, he is a run stuffer. He's not as quick. But, his ability to read and get to the right spot is so much better. He may be slower, and that, like I said, was his knock. But, like I've said before in previous podcasts, he may be slower. He may be a step slower. But with his ability to read the game, he's 2 steps quicker. So really that speed difference doesn't affect him in the run game. Now in the pass game, it's probably another story. But we saw how successful C.J. Mosley could be. And I really came away impressed with what I saw from him. He was hitting hard. He looks huge. He looks like a fucking tank. And I loved his ability to stop the run. And I think, after seeing some of the other linebackers play, I would almost rather see Otaro Ibaka in there next to Peanut. Because Peanut, he didn't have as many splash plays, but he was once again all over the field making tackles. Because I saw Chris Board, he got injured, and that might open up a lane for Otaro Ibaka to get in, make this team. And, Kenny Young, I didn't really hear much of him all game. I didn't see him do anything. Yeah, rewatching the game, he just seemed like he was out there. He didn't really go and make any plays. So that's a little bit concerning. You would hope he'd come up and make another big splash play like he did against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, I didn't really see much from him. The undrafted guys are the ones who impressed me. You got Peanut, the undrafted starter. You got Chris Board, undrafted starter, but now he's in jeopardy to lose that spot with the concussion, with other people practicing. But I came away, like I said, the most impressed by Otaro Ibaka. And then even Alvin Jones, another undrafted guy. I loved what I saw from him. He got a sack. He got a few tackles. I just liked what I saw. And I just think, maybe we should just never draft an inside linebacker ever again. Just get these undrafted guys because they seem to come in and play well. I think Otaro Ibaka, for me personally, I thought he was the best linebacker of the game. I thought, not excluding outside linebackers because they kind of do something differently, but inside linebackers, I was very impressed by him, and I kind of want to see him play some more meaningful snaps towards the beginning of the game. Get in against the 2s and 1s. I want to see how he performs up against the 1s because I thought he was dominant against the 2s and 3s. So I want to see him get in there, maybe get in next to Peanut, and see how, we're going to be starting undrafted guys either way, whether it's Chris Board or Otaro Ibaka. I really just want to see him against the 1s. Now, next, the defensive line. I didn't really see Brandon Williams play much, didn't really hear from him, but I'm sure he does what he always does, holds up against the double team, just stays stacked. Michael Pierce, I saw some good plays from him, some good splash plays, really cutting up field, getting in the way of the running back and kind of ruining a play, allowing someone else to get the tackle. And then also Dalen Mack, he seems 50-50 on plays because sometimes you see him, he'll hold up the double team, he'll get into the backfield, he'll make a great play. But other times I was watching and he was just getting pushed off the ball and he got just demolished. And you're like, ooh, wow, we drafted this guy. But then other places like, yeah, he's good. So he's going to have to hit the weight room. I don't think we'll be able to stash him, so he'll have to be on the team. But I think, he is just 50-50. Either he's making a really good play and he's doing very well, or he's just getting blocked off the ball. And that's not something, that all or nothing. It's not good for a defensive line. You need to I'd rather have someone consistently just hold up in the block than someone who sometimes makes a huge play and sometimes just gets demolished. I'd rather have that consistency. And that's with most players in most positions. You'd like to see the consistency. You know what you're getting out on the field. With some players, the highs are so high and the lows are so low, but you risk it because the highs are that high. And his highs aren't as high. How many times can I say high in 5 minutes? But also Willie Henry, he was a breakout candidate for like a lot of people. A lot of people think he's going to do well, and I think he does great in the passing game. He cuts up field and gets off his blocks pretty quickly and gets pressures up the middle. But in the run game, so many times I saw he had the good position. He was in the right spot. He had his guy at arm length to shed and then get to the ball carrier. But he was just a second or two late. A second to 2 seconds too late to getting off that block. and the runner was able to get by him. But it's like, yo, you got the position. You got him at arm's length. You just got to shed and get in front of the ball carrier. And he was just too late in doing that. Maybe his eyes aren't up. I don't really know what it is, but he seems better in the passing game, because in the run game, I just came away not impressed. And that's very similar to what I saw from Gerald Willis. I saw him cut up field. I saw him make some good plays. And he only played up against the threes, really. But I liked what I saw. I saw he destroyed one play where he cut up field real quick and made the running back bounce outside. But, there wasn't containment, so the running back was able to get some good yards. But, hopefully you think if he's in with the starters, the starters will make that play on the outside. The running back won't be able to get as many yards. The linebackers will be there to fill in on the back end. But seeing some promising stuff from him, I guess. I don't know if he is going to make the team, because you'd hope up against the threes he would be dominant. Now, he did have some dominant plays, but overall he wasn't. Because, to the next guy, Patrick Ricard, he might be my favorite player on this team now. He played so well on defense and on offense. He was all over the field. He gets excellent push. He doesn't rely on a swim move. And, that goes with like some of these other guys. They require a specific move to get out and get over and get behind the line. But Patrick Ricard, he just pushes his man. He is just so strong and explosive that he is able to get excellent push. And I thought he played better than Willie Henry. I'd rather see him in on passing downs, with the ones during the regular season. I think he plays excellent. The ball finds him. He might be just one of these rabbit foot players that I've talked about. Someone who just is lucky where the ball just falls his way. So just super, super impressed by what I saw from him. Now, going on to the outside, Chris Wormley, I liked what I saw from him. Just excellent, got excellent push, got off his blocks very well. Zach Seiler, I don't know if he's going to make this team. He just looked like he not so much got pushed around, but he just didn't look like he could hang. And he's playing against the threes, and you'd hope after what he did last season, he could at least improve upon what he did. And I'm not seeing much improvement. It's just the way it is. So I don't know what to expect from him this season, even if he makes the team. I don't really know what to expect. I've heard talks of him being one of the strongest players in the team. It didn't look like it. It really didn't look like it. Going to outside linebacker, going with the starters, they were pretty quiet. But I did like what I saw from Tyus Bowser. I thought, fucking kid, I thought he got into the backfield. He made the quarterback feel his presence. Now, he didn't get to the quarterback, but I thought he got excellent push. And I liked, he was getting upfield and getting kind of in the quarterback's area to the point where, the quarterback can feel him causing a throw quicker than it should be. Now, they were able to complete those passes, but it is what it is. That's just what you got to deal with. But, you'd rather have the quarterback feel his presence than not. And I thought he held his own very well, was able to or at least hold the edge. I thought he did that pretty well. Tim Williams, I didn't really see much from him at all, other than like a special teams tackle that was pretty dope. But other than that, I didn't really see much from him. He is a speed rusher, but I didn't really see him display any of that speed rushing, because that speed rushing, that causes you to beat your man pretty quickly, and I didn't see any of that. So that's not as bueno. Some other guys, I came away most impressed by number 51. I forget his name. He is a undrafted rookie free agent yet again, and I just love, he's another speed rusher guy like a Tim Williams, and he was beating his man. And obviously he's going against the threes, but he did that last week against Jacksonville, and I thought maybe you could see him going against the twos more. And I want to see him go against some starters more and more through the preseason, because I don't know, he's not going to make this team, but practice squad wise, I came away more impressed by him than anybody else. I just love his tenacity and his effort towards the ball. He got that sack very late in the game, and he just beat his man right away and got to the quarterback. But last week and then this week, I'm seeing nothing but pure effort, and I want to see pure effort guys play. Another guy, Jalen Ferguson. I saw he got pushed around a few times, but when he's not getting double teamed, I saw him hold the edge very well, make tackles, play with some tenacity, and I liked what I saw from him. Some of these young guys, I think, just looking at face value, I think they're playing better than Tim Williams. So I want to see them get some more chances. And then Shane Ray, he played a lot versus the 2s and 3s. And you want to see, a former first-round draft pick, someone we bring in, play very well against the 2s and 3s, be dominant. But that's not what I saw. I didn't really see much from him. Saw him get into the backfield, but, no splash plays. And especially a former first-round draft pick that you bring in, you want to see him make those plays up against the 3s. You want to see him be dominant, and that's just not what I saw. Pernell McPhee, I thought he played well. He got into the backfield. He held his own, making the running back bounce outside and have to bounce so much that he's having to go backwards. I love seeing that. I saw that on a couple plays. And then Matt Judon with the starters, I thought he played excellent. He got that sack where he came all the way across the field. And he did that again with a screen pass, where there's a screen pass to the left, and he started on the defensive left and went all the way across the field to make the tackle for only like a 3-yard gain. And that was very impressive, coming from all the way to the other side and making the play. So, moving on from the defense, I guess we'll go over to the offense. And I guess we'll just start with the quarterbacks, the biggest position on the team. And I loved what I saw from Lamar Jackson on that with the first team. Can we talk about that run? Holy hell. I heard a lot of people say, you don't want to see him run. You don't want to see him run in preseason. Fuck that. I don't think he's been touched in preseason yet. He might have been touched, but he hasn't been tackled yet. Even that run that he did to the outside where he kind of just kept the play alive and just got a couple yards just to, get something positive. And I heard the announcer saying, "Oh, you need to get out of bounds on that, in that type of play." But he had someone coming from behind, and he had someone coming up towards him. And if he went out of bounds, he would have been hit. And the way he did it, he kind of got low and tucked and rolled into the inside. That was the only way he could have made that play without getting hit. And he might have been touched with a hand, but that might have, I think, throughout the preseason so far, that is the only time he's even been touched. Even on that run, he was kind of touched by that one guy where he tucked the ball over him. But goddamn, he is so electrifying, and he can be everyone's going to be talking about him after the season. I've already made this prediction, but I think he might be Hall of Famer, because I think he's better than Vic. I'll go ahead and say it now. Because I think, Vic played at different times, and if Vic didn't have that fighting dogs bullshit and go to jail, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. And I just think Lamar Jackson is way more electrifying with his runs, dude. His ability to just get out of tackles. We saw it last year, and it's only going to improve this year once he got a little bit bigger. I loved what I saw from Lamar Jackson. I saw some accuracy. I only saw one throw that I wasn't happy about, and that was the one to Hayden Hurst towards the goal line, right before that huge run that he had into the end zone, where he hurdled a man like fucking Usain Bolt. I don't think Usain Bolt's a hurdler, but either way, that was the only one. It was a little bit low and away, and Hayden Hurst wasn't able to get the ball. But that other pass to Hayden Hurst down the sideline, I thought that was a good throw. Throw it where only your man can get the ball. There was excellent coverage, and if he threw it put it right on the money, it could have been intercepted. So I like the way he kind of threw that one. Make your wide receiver, or in this case a tight end, make the play. Make him, make an excellent play. Don't allow the defense to even get their hands on it. The other pass that was to Miles Boykin, that kind of, he was running to the outside, just waiting, and you could see he even signaled, he come this way, he waved his arm, and Miles Boykin didn't do that. He's got to learn to do that, and even if you don't come back to the ball, then at least cut up field and run for a long gain, because because the cornerback, they're like waiting. They can't cover too long. He has the ability to cut quickly, and if he just wants to cut and go upfield, and it's like a broken play that turns into like a 30, 50-yard gain, that's what we can do. But he didn't do anything. He just kind of slowly just drifted towards the sideline and didn't make a play for the ball. So, got to get with Miles Boykin in practice and, tell him what you want him to do in that situation. And Lamar, he signaled for him to come back, and he didn't come back. So that's something that not too happy about. But other than that, yeah, I thought he played very well. I thought threw some accurate balls, and he was winning with the short passes and over the linebackers because our running game is so good. And Lamar Jackson, they're so worried about him running that he's making those easy pitch and catches. And you can do that. We are going to be able to move the ball, and we will be a top 10 offense, guaranteed. After seeing that, I saw some more improvements than I thought he would have. Came away very impressed with what I saw from Lamar. And you can see with some of the national media members, they're now like, yeah, well, he's improved, and he's already so electrifying with his legs that he doesn't have to be a great passer, and he's looking like a good passer. He's more than mediocre, which is what we need. He could, with his running ability, he could be a mediocre passer, and we could have success in this league behind Lamar. And he's proven that he's better than mediocre. He's, because you saw in college, he can throw a good ball, but it's just that consistency with it. And I think he has become more consistent, and that's going to allow us to just march down the field. With Justin Tucker, too, I think we could get 20 yards at drive. And, hopefully with good field position and great defensive play, that allows us to get, every single time, allows us to get 3 points. So, can't wait to see more from him this season. I think he's going to be in the MVP discussion. He might not win because I think someone might just put up ungodly numbers, but I think everyone's going to be talking about him. I think he's going to be special. He's going to have that same jump from freshman to sophomore year in college when he won the Heisman that he is going to this year, from his rookie year to now his second year. I think that is going to be the jump that we're going to see. We're going to see a quantum leap in Lamar Jackson. Next, Trace McSorley. I thought he played well. He threw that touchdown pass, but he also threw that terrible interception. There was like 2 more passes that I thought could have been intercepted. Went to the outside to Jaleel Scott. Not Jalen. Yeah, to Jaleel Scott where the cornerback kind of undercut the route on like an out route, and he should have had that, and that would have been a pick 6. And then the other one, he just stared down Miles Boykin again, and he threw it not even to him. At least throw it to the outside shoulder where I think it's supposed to be, but he threw it to his inside shoulder, and it got tipped by the DB, and then someone ended up intercepting it. And on that play, I loved what I saw from Justice Hill because he came and made that tackle, but more on him later. Other than that, I thought, I think he can come in and be a third-string quarterback. I don't think he's outplaying Robert Griffin, just knowing what I know about Robert Griffin. Now, we're probably not going to see him this preseason, but, Trace McSorley, he had commanded the offense, and he looks better than a 6th-round rookie. I mean, he's playing the ball well. He had that one where it was like a 4th and 1, and he took the ball outside. I thought that was excellent. Got like a 17-yard gain where he could have cut it inside and maybe got a few more yards, but, he just kind of high-stepped and was like, yeah, I'll just go out. I'll just go out. I don't want to be hit. So I thought Trace played pretty well. Came away impressed. And then Joe Callahan, our current 3rd-string quarterback, he was just a camp arm, and he was just flinging it, just throwing it up just to maybe make a couple huge plays to try and make this practice squad, just heaving for the heavens. And he did have that one catch, but other than that, towards the end of the game, there was like 2 missed snaps. He mishandled the snap, and that's not something you can have success with in the league. There's no way. I don't even think he makes the practice squad. Sorry. I mean, he might, because you probably have to have a quarterback on the practice squad just in case, team building wise. But I didn't really. It was meh. But moving on from that, let's just go to the run game. Very impressed by our run game in general. But most impressed by Mark Ingram. He was the guy, the lead back that we brought in from the Saints. Excellent runner, a little bit older, but he's always kind of shared the ball with somebody, so he doesn't have as much wear and tear. And after that first drive, I loved what I saw. He's getting like 6 yards a carry. I don't know what he ended up with, what his average was, but that's what it looked like. He was just running up the field, and it didn't look like there were huge holes. He just got so skinny, ran with power and cut, and I'm super excited to what I'm going to see from him this year. Originally I thought there's no way he gets over 1,000 yards this year just because they're going to spread the ball around so much. But, man, after seeing that, why wouldn't you just keep running him? I loved what I saw from him. And it only gets me more excited for the year. Right after that game, I was like, gotta watch some Mark Ingram highlights. The boy can play, So, can't wait to see what he does during the regular season, because he didn't quite break one, but on those plays where it didn't look like there was much going on, he was able to get those yards and got some first downs. So love it. Next, Gus Edwards. He had that one long run. Thought he played pretty well, and he's got, they say he came in, he was a little bit lighter, a little bit more lean, and you can see he makes better cuts. He bounces it to the outside a little bit better. He's able to cut up field quicker, and I loved what I saw from him once again. Just playing with power, doing what he does. A great compliment to Lamar Jackson and those other running backs. Just a straight-up downhill runner. He ain't going to make you miss, but he will run through you. And that's a valuable asset to a team. Loved what I saw from him. Kenneth Dixon, it's hard. He came away injured, but he ended up going back in the game. I was like, oh, here we go again. Kenneth Dixon is injured. It's already like a 50-50 shot with me if he's even going to make this team. But, I didn't really see much from him. I remember the running backs coach one day in a press conference saying he might be the best pure runner that we have. I don't know about that. He didn't look as good as I'd hoped. A lot of with the running game, it depends on the blocking and what goes on. But, I just don't think he made the right cuts. I don't know. We'll wait and see with this guy. It's a wait and see. But next, Justice Hill. Ooh, buddy, we got a guy. He is so explosive, so quick, and runs with that power. That touchdown run where he was on his, when he cut and he is like, hey now, he was all the way back. It's like, lean back. Just pull up my pants and do the rock away. Lean back. That was Justice Hill. And, man, he was explosive. He has great vision. He knows how to find the hole. I just want to see him play with the ones. I want to see. I wish they did that this game, but they just didn't. Because I love his ability to find the hole. Make people miss in the backfield. The times that he's lost yards on plays, that's because there's two guys in the backfield right on him. And that just is from bad offensive line play. And that just sort of happens. It's an around the league type thing when you got the 2s and 3s in there. They're just not as good as the defensive line. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. How many times have I said that this episode? Like, goddamn. But yeah, I loved his running style. I can't wait this running back group, whether they keep 3 or 4. I think they're all going to be healthy and they all do their own thing well. And, maybe you want to save a Gus Edwards towards the end of the year, kind of like what we did, bring him up, even though we brought him up last year. But, have him come in November and December when it starts getting cold. That's when you really start pounding it with Gus Edwards. Don't use him as much at the beginning of the season. Use Mark Ingram as your lead guy, and then maybe a Justice Hill in the warm months. So Justice Hill can make those cuts look good. And then once it starts getting cold, start going towards Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards, where Gus Edwards can just pound people, make people tired, really fuck them up. And a lot of this, DeLance Turner, he had another huge gain. I liked what I saw more from him than I did Kenneth Dixon. Now, Kenneth Dixon's going into the contract year, so maybe they want to play him to maybe try to get a draft pick, maybe trade him, do something like that, or get a get like a compensatory pick, if we decide to just let him go. But I love what I see from Delance Turner, man. I just love his ability to break big plays. And I think that style works well with our offense. Hey, a guy making plays, yeah, that'll work well with us, It's kind of a dumb statement, but yeah, I love what I see from Delance Turner. He's got a weird, kind of patient style almost. He gets low and kind of slow cuts, jumps, and then boom, he's off to the races. So I want to see him get in to the field quicker. Like a lot of these players, when they have success against the 2s and 3s, I want to see them play more. Me personally, if I were to pick 4 running backs, if we were to keep 4, I think Delance Turner's in and Kenneth Dixon's out. That's just the way I see it. I just like that big play ability, that upside, more than I do Kenneth Dixon's weird Peter Cottontail bunny bounce around technique. So a huge key to the run game is the O-line. And the O-line, they were all over the place, man. Some good players, some bad players. I'm going to start with Illumina because he had a better game. He definitely had a better game because that first game was hot, trash, anemic, garbage shit. It was awful. It was terrible. He plays tackle better than he plays guard. I think he's better in pass protection than he is against the run because there was a period in that third quarter, like a couple plays in a row, when Justice Hill had the ball, and Justice Hill was actually making plays, but they could have been bigger plays because Illumina, he's on the ground. When he goes to block somebody, he doesn't look for contact. He stops before everybody else. He's like a youth football player sometimes, where you gotta get in their face, say you gotta play to the whistle, and he didn't do that. On that one play where Trace, he had the ball forever, he kind of broke it outside, just waiting to try to find and throw it to someone who's open, and ended up, incomplete, and that there was no one there. I think he just threw it out. You could see everyone get off their blocks on the defensive side of the ball, and the O-line kept running to try and make a play. Everyone but Illumina. But fucking Illumina. He was just in the backfield, just walking. And the guy who ended up making Trace McSorley throw the ball, he could have been blocked by Illumina. Illumina, he was still in the backfield after Trace ran it out, and his guy went running towards him, kind of got chipped by someone else. I think it might have been Ben Powers or Bradley Bozeman. I can't tell. Can't remember who it was exactly. And Illumina, he's just walking over, and then he realizes the play is still kind of going on, and then he starts jogging, but doesn't do anything. And it's that, not playing to the whistle. You want to see guys with that tenacity. You want to see them play hard. Even if you don't make the block, you want to see that effort, and he just didn't see that from him. From a guy like Makari, who was making plays and getting a lot of hype this past week, I thought he played way better. He's not as big, so he doesn't have that God-given, like, hey, you just can't get through me. But he's got that effort, man. I saw him pull, make some good plays. I liked what I saw from Makari, because on that same play, he ran over to the sideline with Trace, and he's got his head on a swivel looking, and he but blocked until the very end. Loved seeing that. And I think Makari, he's going to make this team as maybe a backup guard. Just loved what I saw. He was playing all over the line. I liked his decision making. I just love his effort, and effort will get you on the team. Another offensive lineman that I came away impressed with was Ben Powers. Now, Ben Powers, he's the psycho who wants to break people's dreams. And I remember when I was watching it live, I'm like, who is yelling? I heard like a loud-ass yell on a play that, didn't go anywhere. I thought maybe it was on the defensive side of the ball. But when I rewatched it, anytime you hear someone yell, like this primal, like, it's Powers getting a pancake block. Because it happened 2 times in that game. I think might even be on the same drive. Or maybe they were consecutive drives. But Ben Powers, he had a pancake block. He just starts yelling like a fucking maniac. And then he did it again on a play that, once again, didn't go anywhere. But, he got his guy and pancaked him. And he just starts yelling, man. I love that. I love that tenacity. It's going to keep coming up. Because with these guys, you want to make the team, you're going to have to put in some effort. You can't just be dilly-dallying your way. NFL players don't do that. So I loved what I saw from Ben Powers, and I loved, in the passing game too, his head's on the swivel. He's a very, very smart player. You can see he'll get off his guy and help another guy out, and he knows that his guy won't get there. I'm very impressed by Ben Powers. I don't know if they'll start him or not, but Illumina, he had that terrible, terrible third quarter, and he played well in the first, second, and fourth quarter, but in the third quarter, man, it's like, what are you doing, bro? There's one where he came in. It was a run to the outside with Justice Hill, and his job was to help the guard with his man, and then get upfield and get the second man. Now he came, helped push down the guy that the guard was blocking, and he ended up on the ground. And that's when you got to go and try to get a linebacker. He just didn't even attempt to do that. He just stayed on that guy. Like, you ain't getting up. No, if you went and tried to get that linebacker, that would have been a 12 or 13 yard play. And you can see Greg Roman's offense, when it's executed well, even if, the blocks aren't successful, but, you at least get a man on a man, you can get some huge running plays. And I can't wait to see it all season long, especially when they're not showing everything. This is just the base scheme. I'm excited. Can't wait to see everything work out. Let's see. Is that all the offensive linemen I wanted to talk about? Yeah, everything else. Didn't see anything from Ronnie Stanley. Saw him play excellently. Same with Zeus. Thought he played well. Nothing really of note to mention. I think that's... I saw Snead get beat quite a few times. I don't know if he's going to make the team. He was a project coming in, but he might be one of those dad projects that just never gets finished. It's the outdoor grill that just never gets finished. It's the unfinished basement that'll never get finished. You going to fix that, Ron? Yeah, I'll do it. God damn it. Linda? No, he's never going to do it. So I think we might have to move on from that. I think next year we're just going to have to invest a lot of draft capital in that offensive line position, because an offensive line in this system, oh man, it'll be deadly. It'll be deadly, baby. So I guess moving to the tight ends, Hayden Hurst, he had 3 drop passes, and there was one where he got a screen where he tried to cut it back, and man, if he did, he just got tackled by the ankles, and he would have been gone for a long gain. But I love that effort. Love seeing that. that long pass that he wasn't quite able to get to. I just want to see him speed up a little bit more. But it is what it is. Didn't see anything from Mark Andrews. All the hype in training camp, it's all about Mark Andrews, but haven't seen anything from him in these first 2 preseason games. Maybe they're just saving him. That's what I'm hoping they're doing, but I just haven't really seen anything from him. And then Nick Boyle, he had a few good plays. They're using him a lot in the passing game, which I love to see, because he's our blocking guy, our blocking tight end, fullback guy, but they're using him a lot, using him in the flats, using him downfield. So any way you can disguise somebody to get the ball, that's going to be beautiful for this offense. And he had that one catch where he tried to hurdle the man, where I remember seeing an interview from him previously where he was talking about, sometimes I just predetermine that I'm gonna hurdle on this play. And he got the ball and he went up for the hurdle, ended up just kneeing this guy in the chest and just getting stopped, and then eventually pushed back. You could see after the play he was laughing about it, smiling about it. I hope his fellow tight ends gave him shit for that, because that was pretty funny. Just seeing someone, I'm going up. Nope, not today. So I thought that was funny. But love it. Even if it doesn't work, go for broke. My mans, go for broke. Let's see. I guess we'll just move on to the wide receivers. A lot of the talk of the town was on Miles Boykin, and he did not have a great game today. I think he had just 1 drop pass, and then that miscue with Lamar on the sideline. There was a interception, but I'm not going to put that on him. There was one play where there was a run right up the middle, and you could see him slanting in towards the inside and got a pretty decent block on the wide receiver. But I imagine a time when Lamar is going to keep that and bounce it outside and bootleg it out. Man, that's going to go for a huge gain because Miles Boykin could kill it in that in the blocking aspect of the offense. Willie Snead, he had that one drop pass over the middle where the announcers were like, "Oh, that was a wobbly pass by Lamar," but it got tipped and was actually, I thought, in the hands of Willie Snead. I thought he should have made that catch, especially over the middle. No, it's just a weird series of plays where it's like drop pass, Lamar runs, gets the touchdown, called back, then it was like false start. There's just penalties really did kill the offense, killed drives towards the end there. But Willie Snead, he should have caught that ball. I really think he should have. Let's see. Then I guess Jaleel Scott, he had a few plays. I want to see him get in with the ones playing with better competition. I don't know why. He might be in the doghouse. And there was that one catch that was a slant pass that he caught. And when I thought it, just simple pitch and catch. He made a great play on that third down. And then when I was rewatching the game, when I slowed it down and really just like frame by frame, I don't think that was a catch. I think it hit the turf or hit the grass. When he kind of like rolled over, I think it was on the ground. And you can see some of the defenders like, "Oh, that was incomplete," but they didn't make enough noise. Their coach didn't really see it. But yeah, I think if that was challenged or replayed in slow-mo, that wasn't a catch. Antoine Wesley had that huge catch down the sideline that ended up getting challenged for a push-off because it kind of looked like he pushed off, but he had a great catch down the sideline. He also had a good catch over the middle where he kind of stopped, cut back in, ended up getting smacked, but you can see that want to get some extra yards. Loved what I saw from him. Way better than his first game against Jacksonville where he just had one drop pass and that was it. But yeah, on that long ball, to me, I thought that was a push-off. But then they challenged it to see pass interference, and then they're watching it in slow-mo. And you watch it in slow-mo, it's like, oh, that ain't a push-off. But when you watch it full speed, it was like, yeah, it's a push-off. He just, in slow-mo, it didn't look like he impeded the cornerback well enough. Maybe if the cornerback decided to sell it, then yeah. Because his arm was straight out. He was basically stiff-arming him. Kind of stiff-armed him to get that ball. I thought, that's for sure coming back. But then, like I said, once you saw it in slow-mo, no. Not enough. Let's see, any other wide receivers? Nothing of note. Joe Horton finally got a ball. Sean Monster, he played a little bit in the return game. I thought he had a nice little run back. It wasn't for many yards, but, made a couple guys miss. Were there any other wide receivers that stood out? Yeah, Willie Snead, he caught a couple balls. Seth Roberts didn't play once again with that injury, so I think it's gonna. Oh, Chris Moore. He had an excellent game. Before this season starts in training camp, I was kind of hating on Chris Moore, but he's shut me up. Chris Moore has shut me up. He's played excellent. He's caught quite a few balls. He had that touchdown. I don't know what it is about Chris Moore, but he just always gets smacked super hard. He got that hit over the middle where it was like a helmet to helmet, caused the flag to come out, personal foul or whatever. And even last game he took that sweep to the outside versus Jacksonville, and he ended up getting smacked by the by the safety. I don't know what it is about him, but people come and wreck him. People really try to hit him hard. But he had excellent hands this game, so I want to see him continue. I'm liking what I'm seeing. He might end up being the starter. All the hype was on Miles Boykin, but I think Chris Moore is outproducing him. We'll see, because there was a lot of hype with Seth Roberts too, and they're saying they're like clones. They look very similar. But, when he's injured, guys are stepping up, making plays. Miles Boykin, it just seems like he, when the lights come on, it takes him time to get warmed up. And he had the one drop pass, and they didn't really go to him much after that. So they're showing at least they believe that he is a starter, or at least a first-team type guy, because he wasn't in much of the game after that. After those first few series, I didn't really see him in there that much. But yeah, came away most impressed on the wide receiver front with Chris Moore. Like I said, I wasn't too high on him. I thought he might not even make this team, but he has surely shut me up. So, good job, Chris Moore. Good job doing you. Is that it for the offense? I guess it is. Special teams, they allowed another long run back at the very beginning of the game. I want to see them start out strong and continue that. Nothing else after that, but I don't ever want to see like a 30-yard run back at the very beginning of the game. Momentum is a huge aspect of the NFL. I don't know why. It's not a quantifiable thing. And, that's why stats, stats don't tell the whole story. Because you got guys, it affects other things, That stat doesn't really mean, with Lamar, it's like, oh, but he also affects everything, like the defense and all this. And so stats don't show the whole picture. And where was I going with this? Yeah, so stats don't show the whole picture because momentum is a huge, like if they could put that on a stat line, how did this player produce when they didn't have momentum? Or who's a great momentum player? Who can shift momentum the most? Because for whatever reason, it is a huge aspect of the NFL. And it's just not quantifiable. You can see it when you watch the game. Oh, they got all the momentum right now. And then someone makes a play and that just stops. Stymies that momentum right in the tracks. And so that's why you got to watch the games to really get an idea. And all these... There's people still hating on Lamar, even after that game. And you can see the promise, and you can see his ability to make the easy throws now. But, keep talking shit. It only fuels Lamar. I did see a piece on that today. And today is Sunday? What's today? The 18th. So, good stuff. Good stuff overall. So I wanted to record this another day, but life kind of got in the way. It just happens. I wanted to record yesterday, but it was a long work week and ended up just I'm pretty tired. I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll watch the game again and then record just so everything's fresh in my mind. I don't really think I missed much. I'm sure I did. But I wanted to go over like each and every position and some things that I saw. Can't go over every player because there's 90 fucking players. But I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of the game. I'm really trying to remember and give out as much opinions on everything from each game. So really in-depth look at everything. What it all means, I don't know. Maybe that's for another podcast. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe you got something out of this. Maybe you got a meaning out of this. What it means for the team going forward. So, with that being said, I'm going to end this episode. Thanks for listening. Drop a like. Follow me on your podcast app. Leave a rating. Any way you can, just help me out by giving feedback. So, till next episode, I will leave you with the Go Ravens. Oh, go Ravens. Yeah.